Hello, everyone. How's it going? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for tuning in to Jigs and Puzzles episode number 4. And this is a special episode, as a special time today. I'm really excited to be joined by my friend, the mayor, Josh Berglan. Is that correct, Josh? How's it going, man?
Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Oh, I'm on this side of the screen. I'm still playing theme music and everything else. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I didn't even know I was freaking on here. Hold on just a second. That's so funny. I've only done Be Live when I'm the host, and it's different. Oh my God. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. Hey, thanks so much for joining me today on the show. First of all, for a second there, I thought that these technical difficulties were going to get the best out of me. You know, Be Live is a little technically challenged at times, so I'm glad that we're able to work through that. And I know you had a prior engagement, so I'm sure this is like a back-to-back type of day for you, right? Is just knocking it out and you know, doing all kinds of things. You know, I'm so excited to have you on the show, first of all, because it was several weeks ago when I think me and you connected, and I think we're just completely out of the blue on Facebook, right? Which Facebook, exactly. It's funny how that works, because Facebook, I think, is much smaller than what a lot of people anticipated to be. I mean, how interconnected it is. And that's what precisely brought us, I think, together. And, you know, ever since, you know, one thing that I have to be very, very forefront and very upfront in stating is that it has been a wild ride, because since me and you talked and became friends on Facebook, I think just my entire network has started growing, honestly. You must have this effect on people that you bring the best people together and you just work up some magic, man. I don't know what it is, but it must be, you know, your mantra, your karma, and everything that you're doing. So I'm so excited to have you on the show. With that being said, let's start with your story really quick. Let's start with, you know, because when me and you first connected, you shared some bits and pieces about it. But I want to tell people, I want others who are tuning in for the first time to learn more about who Josh is. So tell us a little bit about who is Josh?
Oh my gosh, man. I was actually looking at my phone trying to figure out why it's not showing up on my feed, and because I wanted to share to my wall. But and I guess I can do that afterwards. Man, you know, it's funny is I like doing interviews because I like learning about other people, but in the way that, you know, my story is like anyone else, I guess. I grew up in an upper middle class home, grew up with, had this amazing family. My mom was Mrs. America. My father was a rock star that toured with Ike and Tina Turner, Jerry Lee Lewis, but turned entrepreneur. And, you know, I grew up just thinking like everything was great and perfect. And then when I was 7 years old, my sisters disappeared. And shortly after that, I was molested, and then, like, little by little, like, all these really crazy things started to happen to me. And I internalized all of it. You know, it was somebody that I didn't know that it was okay to have a voice. I didn't know it was okay to scream out for help. And because I didn't do that, and all of this energy that I put out, I've been that way my whole life, but the difference was when I was taking those bad things, instead of releasing it, I internalized it, and eventually it just started poisoning my soul. And it turned me into a very angry, violent, messed up kid. And I never really, man, it's just, what's the best way to say this? Instead of seeking God or seeking help, I internalized things, and it just became this violent monster. And as I got older and didn't have sports to run to, you know, football was always great because I could hurt people, I could hurt myself, and I could punch face mask, and I could just knock a quarterback out. Like, I had sports as this outlet, and I was able to be violent, which was great everywhere but the golf course. Like, throwing clubs and hitting old ladies with golf balls is not real, it's not one of those things that is looked at real fondly. That said, and then when sports was over for me, I had no outlet. And so it was alcohol, sex, drugs, and continued to just live this double, triple life where I wore multiple masks, and I just wasn't a good person. And I used my work in fighting on behalf of disabled people for 18 years. I used that as a way of hiding who I really was. And the truth was, I didn't even know who I was.
Yeah.
That said, it was something that, because I didn't seek help at an early age, because I didn't seek God the way that I should have, I destroyed 2 marriages. I lost my kids. I shattered my finances. Every relationship I was ever in was just nothing but self-destructive. And I hurt a lot of people, man. I hurt a lot of people. And, the consequences to me not seeking God at an early age, the consequences to that were bankruptcies, being homeless, almost dying multiple times. But anyway, so it took 6 times in jail for me to finally have that moment with God. I was put in isolation, got in a screaming match with God. And I said, why can't you change me? You can change everybody else, but you won't change me. Why, God, why? And now I know why I was put in isolation. But the truth is that in that moment, I felt God. And when I say I felt God, I felt it like just hit me and just at the top of my head to the bottom of my toes. Him say, and I felt it, you have to forgive your father. And the next thing for me was how? Like, how am I supposed to do that? And then a little bit later, I heard, because it happened to him too. And for the first time, I had compassion for my father, which allowed me to finally forgive him. And once I forgave him, that's when I was able to finally accept Christ and receive the Holy Spirit for the first time in my life. And that was 2 years ago. And ever since then, my whole life has been centered around serving other people.
And the reason I asked for your stories is, first of all, this show really focuses on life, family, and business. And one of the things that really, I think, drew me in the beginning when me and you talked for the first time is just that the experiences that you had gone through, right? Is just that, I mean, it took so many failures, right? And some were intentional. A lot of them were unintentional. Like you said, you finally found God, you finally found that purpose, to really find a true meaning, right? And I think that there's this misconception, in society where, a lot of people think that to become successful, that maybe someone serves it on a silver platter for you, or that someone creates a path for you, and when we look back at some of them, if we look at some of today's most successful people, right? Nobody ever served anything on a platter for them. Nobody, created a path for them. There were people in their lives, and you mentioned this, is that when you change your mindset, when you started thinking more positively, when you saw God, when you really truly felt like you had found your purpose and what you were meant to do, is when life started changing, when life really started having a meaning. And man, I got to tell you, man, I mean, you are one of those people that, when you initially shared the story, it was so impactful. And that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because I think a lot of people, misconstrue how, people pave a path for themselves, how they find their purpose. They think that, it's a lot more simplistic, that, or maybe someone helped them. So the fact that you went through all these experiences, and the question I want to ask you is, was there a moment, so you went through all these experiences, being molested, and then bankruptcies, losing this, that, jail multiple times. What was it, if you were to think back, that really kind of triggered your mind, besides obviously from finding God and receiving the Holy Spirit? Was there anything else that really sparked in your mind to say, is this really it? Is this what I was meant for? Or is there a higher purpose for me to really fulfill, my dreams, or find my dreams, goals? And what was that?
Well, so that's okay. The life change and finally being willing to accept my purpose, that was a moment of when I completely surrendered my life to God. But my purpose and the vision that I had, the vision that I believe God set in my mind for my life happened when I was right after I was molested the first time. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know what it meant. I always had this flash of seeing myself on stage. I always had this flash of seeing myself. I used to pretend to be Larry King, and I would pretend to be Oprah, and also like a speaker on stage and like sharing and connecting with people. I've always saw that, and every time I hit rock bottom, I would see a glimpse of something that, of me helping somebody in a very profound way, and on whether it was a stage or through, communicating and sharing my story. Mm-hmm. I saw that, and that was always something that helped me get off the mat. The problem was I've had multiple times to live out my purpose. I've shared a lot of stories on my show and in my blogs and things like that about times where I was given the same opportunity to do what I'm doing now, but I would sabotage it because I wasn't doing the work to build my armor to protect like myself against other people's words. Other people's words, or even things that I would tell myself, or labels I was given. Once I would hear those negative things, it would derail me and take away from, I would believe it. I would believe that I was a piece of crap. I would believe that I was a failure, and I would never be worth a damn to anybody.
Right.
I would believe all of those things, like you'll never change, you'll never this, you'll never that, you'll always be this, you'll always be that. I believed it. And so it would derail me from that path that I was going on, and I would fall off, and I would immediately go into a much darker place. And so all of those efforts of living my purpose, I just would crumble. I wasn't strong enough for it because I wasn't willing to do the work to build up my armor to protect, where I don't care that people make fun of what I do. I don't care that there's a lot of people that don't get the point of morning gratitude with the mayor. They don't get it. And the negative feedback that I get, if I gave a crap what they thought, I would have quit doing the show a long time ago. Yeah, I do that show because I feel led to do that show. Everything I do because I feel led to do it. But I still get the haters. I still get people that tell me I'm dumb and I'll never amount to anything, and I'm always going to be a loser. I'm going to be a piece of crap like my dad. I hear that all the time. Right. But now my armor is built as such that you're not going to knock me down. The only person that's going to derail my path, the path that God has laid out for me, is me. Is me giving in, me allowing the enemy to break me down. But that's still on me. So it all centers. I've known my purpose. There's a lot of people that don't know their purpose. There's a lot of people. I think your purpose is somewhere between what is the thing that brings you the most joy in this world, and what is the thing that makes you raging mad. Like there's it's somewhere between there, because it's drawing out that passion in you. And I've been very fortunate. It just took me a long time to accept it and not run from it. But I'm very, very blessed to have always known it. So once I was willing to do the work, it set me free.
Mm-hmm. And I was, as you were talking, as I noticed we were having some technical difficulties and people not being able to tune in to the link. So I'm working on that to share it actually on your Facebook wall. But you mentioned a couple of things, Josh, and oh my God, first of all, dude, I dropped my hat so you can see my fancy or non-fancy hair. I dropped my head off to you, man, because you were talking about the haters. You were talking about the naysayers. And there's always going to be those people out there. There's always going to be people out there who will tell you that you don't amount to anything. You're never going to amount to anything because maybe they give up on their dreams or they're not living in reality. And, I have personally learned this the hard way, that if you listen to the naysayers and the trollers and the negative people, is that's the quickest route to fucking insanity. Honestly, that is the quickest route to insanity. And for a long time, I was too in that similar mindset where, you know, I would constantly be worried about what people thought about what I was doing. I mean, even I think to this day, somewhere in the back of my mind, there's like this evil call, you know, that's always questioning me about what I'm doing and what I'm trying to accomplish. And this is exactly why, you know, I resonated so much with your story, is because, you know, even though, you know, my past wasn't as dark and I haven't gone through these heavy experiences, you know, I was bullied when I was a kid. I had a long hair. I was the kid with the big old glasses. I couldn't speak a language. I couldn't get around. You know, I was the kid that sat on the back of the bus for a long period of time. I dreaded going to school. You know, I dreaded going to school. As a matter of fact, I only went to college for 2 years, and I barely even graduated because I despised being around people, because name calling, bullying, being told that you wouldn't amount to anything. And even nowadays, honestly, I mean, the reason you have had such a big impact, I mean, it's because of you that I think I had almost 100 new friends in December on Facebook. I signed up on Facebook in 2004. And it's because of because of your powerful network, the positivity, the people that you have attracted, that has correlated to me. Like literally, it's like a magnet, like the law of attraction. It just literally happened, Josh. And that's why, you know, I reached out to you initially. I'm like, look, I got to talk to Josh. I got to have him on the show. This guy is like the real fucking deal. Like, you know, and there's people out there, I'm going to be honest with you, is this, a lot of people do Facebook Live nowadays. A lot of people try to come across as very genuine, authentic, you know, they have something unique, but there's a small percentage, I would say probably 1% of people that truly convey a real message the way you do. And they really impact people on an emotional level. They really impact people in a way that helps them change their life, you know? And I think that's what you're doing, is that the type of people that you've surrounded yourself with, is that it's not necessarily people that maybe have been molested also, we're in jail, but people that just resonate with you because of the mentality that you have, right? And I think that's why it's really attributed to your growth and your success and what you're doing with your show, right?
Well, I mean, look, as far as credit, all I'm doing, man, is expressing gratitude and trying to reveal other people's passion and purpose. Like, I try to have as many different types of guests on as possible to give people a perspective that we're all the same. Like, we're not different. We may have different careers, we may come from different places, but we're all the same people. And yet, but we all have very unique purposes. And I figured that my goal was to show a variety of different purposes and different stories and people, so that it would resonate with somebody and everybody. Because what I'm doing is there's nothing special or unique about what I'm doing. I'm just doing what I feel led to do. I'm listening to that feeling, whether it's God, the universe, whatever you want to call it. I believe the connection to God and the prayer I say before every live I do is I want someone to hear somebody else's story so that it profoundly changes their life or inspires them to do something. And it may be just to get through that day, because I remember when I had nothing and I'd lost everything and I was still out in LA, and getting that call of opportunity dramatically changed the course of my life. It got me through that day, because I swear to you, not right before then, I was wanting to I was wanting to do everything I could do to kill myself. And I'd given up hope, and I didn't see a way out. And somebody was kind enough to give me an opportunity.
Right.
And so I value that. And not as much as my faith, but I value that moment so much in my life, because it's always helped me remember how important it is to try to give other people the opportunity to have a voice, to teach people it's okay to have a voice, to teach people that you have a freaking purpose, and nothing can deny you of your purpose, because it's between you and God, and you own that. That's your DNA. Your purpose is your DNA. And and allowing other people to knock you off of that or knock you off course, like that's honestly, it's on you. But yet we allow circumstances to change all that. So if anything that I'm trying to do is just to give people a little extra bump of courage, or maybe that, okay, I can do it. Like, even if I can just make them believe for a second they can do it, and they take action, they take the first step, and they see the reward from that. That is, to me, is all I'm really trying to do. I don't look at it like it's that special. I just am doing what I feel led to do. And in the meantime, I've been blessed for my network to grow with quality people that are also driven. And it's something else to say. It's very, very important. Like, I also eliminate people out of my life really fast. I don't want people that are leeches and bloodsuckers around me. I want people that are spirit led, and people that are driven to change people's lives, and that don't want to step on someone's throat. My man Lauren Harris, and you connected with him. Yep. Literally one of the greatest dudes I've ever met in my life. He does this story, and I'm going to have him on my show again, just to do the ladder analogy about the ladder to success, where in the ladder of success that we're taught, that climb, someone's always having their face stepped on, and you have your head up someone's butt. Like, that's the ladder of success. But when you turn that ladder sideways and you work together and you collaborate, you bring people up with you. That, to me, is what success is. That, to me, is what life is all about. And I'm really trying to make that happen on my show, because that show is not about me. That show is about my guests and their passion and their purpose, and really relaying that on. And hopefully, like, I want to be able to provide the biggest audience possible, because I truly believe that their messages need to be heard. Yeah.
So you mentioned a couple of really interesting things and I think we're getting ready to work out these technical challenges, that I'm having here with Be Live. It's for some reason, and this was me re-engaging with it, but a couple of things is, you talked about the bloodsuckers, right? Those people that like latch on you and they want to use you as a stepping stone, right? Because it's going to help them, for most people, is, elevate their life, whether it's, to get to other people within your network, or maybe relationships, or maybe business opportunities, right? Or, a gig or whatever, right? And that is something that we have to be very cognizant of, because you're absolutely right. There's a lot of those people out there. There literally is. And, because they're looking for personal gain. That's all they're looking for, is personal gain. They're not looking to truly impact and impact other people's lives, right? So I think that was really important that you mentioned, because there's a lot of those people. And it really got me thinking, Josh, in doing this Facebook Live, which, this is a fairly new show, it really gets me thinking about, how many of those bloodsuckers are going to latch on this show, right? But that's the kind of mentality that I think that, that I want to escape, that I really don't want to have in my mind, because I want to remain a positive momentum. I want to think positively. And this is exactly what I've been doing. I mean, honestly, I've had such a huge impact, you have no idea, on my mentality, because all these cool people that I've connected with, Lauren and a bunch of other people, is that literally I have messaged them because, look, Josh was someone that I got to meet. He's just phenomenal at how he's impacting people's lives, because he's real. And I just want to pay it forward. Literally, I want to pay it forward by impacting someone else's life in my own way. Like you said, everyone has their own purpose, right? Yeah. And I think the law of attraction is a big part, which, I wasn't so cognizant of, but it's such a big part, I think, of trying to find my purpose and knowing my purpose, and how I use that and the positivity to impact other people's lives. Yeah. And I'm talking about no expectations here, like zero, nothing. Just, how can I help you? What are you struggling with? Like the Lauren Harris interview that, you had mentioned, that was very, very deep. You know, first of all, it was very vulnerable. And one thing that almost I lost my train of thought is just that a lot of people have good ideas, good intentions, right? But there's no action. There's no follow through. They always talk about, you know, the things that they want to do. So, you know, listening to Lauren's interview, man, that was deep. That was deep. And like the real challenge here is, how do you pick yourself up off the ground? I mean, I know that obviously for a lot of people, it's like, well, I found God, I found spirituality, you know, so on and so forth. And that's important, right, to embrace. But literally, man, that takes a lot in a person to literally, I mean, you're at the bottom. You're like, everyone has stepped on you, everyone has rolled over you. And like, what's the one thing? I mean, what was the one thing? I mean, I know I may have asked you this, but like, where did you even find the courage? Was it just God, or how did you even find the courage? How did you even find the willpower, I think, to even say, you know what, fuck this. I mean, this is, you know, this is not what I was meant to do. This is not my life. You know, people have ingrained it in my mind, and I've made mistakes. I'm a sinner, but what do I do from here? You know, I mean, that has to take, you know, not only law of attraction, but forces of nature, God. I mean, how did you cope with that? I mean, can you share maybe a little bit more personally about, you know, you found God, you found your purpose, right? But you were talking about the lateral meeting also, you know, I mean, what really keeps you going, I guess, at this point? What really keeps Josh going?
The hope that I will reconnect with my twins, making my mom proud. Actually, and you know, like Karen, who you've met now, and
yeah,
like in our story, and I mean, everything has now got. I mean, it's gotten to this place where I recognize the position I'm in. I'm not naive to it. I don't think it's. I mean, there's the competitive side of me that wants the you know, I want to speak and help people all over the world, because I really believe I have it in me to do that. But on a personal level, making my mother proud, living my life in such a way that my twins, Jackson and Gabby, who I haven't seen since they were 2, and they're 10 now, and I have a daughter that's 17. I want to make them proud. And when they do come back to my life, because I believe that they will, when they find me, they see me in the way I live my life publicly, in private. I mean, I'm the same guy. Like, I'm flawed all the time. I mean, I'm flawed. I'm not gratitude 24 hours a day. I'm the person that you see on the show is me, goofy, fun, charismatic, but I have an edge to me too. I have to fight the temptation to not bite people's faces off. But I'm very fortunate to have Karen to talk me down sometimes. But I genuinely, I want to make my mother proud, and I want to make, yeah. I recognize the responsibility, whether I want it or not, that I'm an example to other people. And I want people to know that I'm flawed. But at the same time, I want people to see and understand that it's okay to screw up, but always with the effort of trying to do the right thing. Make amends when you screw up. When you hurt somebody, say you're sorry. Ask for forgiveness. And just try to be better every day. And you're not going to be perfect. I mean, there's so many passages in the Bible that it's just trying to be perfect or showing people that you're perfect is wrong. I'm a sinner. I'm a broken person. Fortunately, I've been able to have so much joy and peace because I'm living my purpose that I know God gave me. There's peace in that. There's peace in knowing that everything's going to be okay. No matter what comes against me, no matter what comes at me, like, it's going to be okay. And I can overcome all things because of Christ. I believe that. I know it. And So yet, to answer your question, I want to make the people that believe in me proud. I don't want to validate their belief. I just want to make them proud. And I want to keep on. If I'm the message that they need to hear, then so be it. But I just want to be able to bring light to as many dark places as possible. And to your point about you doing a show and other people doing a show, there is a ripple effect of such. And I love that. I love finding out that people are doing lives now because I've inspired them. I mean, it's a humbling thing to think about because I just look at myself as a regular dude. I'm no different than anybody else, you know? I just try to be as genuine, authentic as possible, but I really, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but really at the core of it, I just want to make the people that have believed in me, I want to make them proud. And the people that don't know me but do watch, if I'm the one that helps bring them light every day, then so be it. I recognize that. But at the same time, I want people to know that I'm just a regular guy. I just happen to really, I love doing these lives. I love it, but I'm getting nervous. And like beforehand, like if you've ever seen me before the show goes on, I'm praying and I'm dancing. The whole reason I play music is to make me forget that I'm nervous. But every time I'm a stumbling idiot. So anyway, I didn't really answer your question very well, but at the core of it is I don't want to let people down. And I recognize the position I've been given, and I want to honor it 100%.
Josh, I think you actually answered my question. You really did, and you even gave me even more information. A few things I wanted to latch upon. First of all, I am more than confident, 100%, that you are making your mother proud. And if she's not seeing that, your mother is still alive, right?
Oh yeah, she watches the show sometimes too, and her feedback. She never comments, but her feedback always makes me happy. So,
Josh, I'm more than confident, man. The difference is that you are proactive. You're taking action. I guarantee you that your mother is taking notion of that. I guarantee you that. And honestly, I think this is something that as you do it more and more, I think you will prove to her that you are indeed 100% all in, that your intentions are good. And the only way you do it the only way you can prove that is through actions. Keep doing it more and more of. So I'm more than confident that she is. Now, I could tell you we're very sensitive about your kids, honestly. I could tell you we're very sensitive, but I wanted to address that. And here's why I guarantee you that there will come a day. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be the day after. It might not be 3 months, 6 months, or even a year from now. But there will come a time. I have a feeling that with God and the way things work in a very mysterious way, which they really do, and I'm a big proponent because I'm probably one of the luckiest sons of bitches alive, honestly. And I have so much to be thankful for to be here today, specifically talking to you. But your kids will recognize that. Your kids will appreciate that. Your kids will acknowledge in time that, you know what, Dad probably didn't make the right choices, but ever since then, he's been doing it differently to where he's tried to prove himself and show that, look, we live in a mediocre society where when you make a mistake, immediately people nix you. Most people do. They think that you're unworthy. God knows that you're worthy. He died on the cross for us. He died so that humanity could live. And we owe that to him for eternity. So the point that I'm trying to make is that, and this is something in my own life, Josh, I got to tell you is that I wasn't always as willing. I wasn't always as transparent. I wasn't always as impactful. I wasn't always, there's probably people watching right now that are thinking, what the hell is this guy talking about? Honestly, okay? But the reality of things is that I've changed. And that's what it takes is you have to be able to change, take action towards change, and impact people in a positive way, because there's a saying out there that I really appreciate is this: don't let your past dictate your future. And I think a lot of people in this mediocre world that we live in think that, oh, just because, Josh was arrested multiple times and he did bad things and he didn't have his head screwed on right, that's the guy that he is. Because that is the misconception that society paints, But look, that's just not how, and those are the type of people that you need to avoid in life. Honestly, I learned that the hard way is just that there's so many people out there, and I'm sure you've seen this firsthand, is just that the type of people that you used to associate with in, let's call it your prior life, are not the type of people you associate with today, right? That's because you think differently, you've changed your mindset, you want to keep paying it forward. You want to impact people in a positive way. And that's all it takes, honestly, is just that. And the fact that what I love about you so much is just that you have no expectations. You're probably one of the first people that I have ever met who, the fact that maybe I latched onto your network and I connect with all these people that you have in your network. I've had people that have literally messaged me like, why in the fuck did you connect with so-and-so? I'm like, are you serious? I connected with them because they're like-minded, because they watch Josh's show, because they are followers of Christ, because they have dreams, because they have goals, because they want to change their lives. And like, people look at it in a very condescending fashion, to be honest with you. They look at it that, like you said, the bloodsuckers, right? Is like they try to latch on you and they try to destroy you for so much. Look, man, I, of all people, will admit that I've lost a lot of people just in social media, and I've lost some real friends because they were in disbelief of what I'm doing, and still are to this day. But you are a prime example that if Josh can turn his life around, if Josh can turn a positive page, if Josh can follow the things that he wants to do and impact people, then anybody can do it, right? I mean, you just have to change your mindset. I mean, is that... Maybe I'm like putting this on the pedestal in a way by saying that anybody can do it, but isn't that the truth, right? I mean, you're a prime example of that, right?
No, I agree. And look, I remember sitting in jail the last time, and I was next to a guy that had been a murderer, or he was a murderer, and the other guy was coming off of a 4-day meth binge. And this is like in the waiting room, waiting to meet with the judge, and I'm thinking I'm going to be in jail for 5 years, right? Like this is what I've been told by the attorney. But I'm sitting there talking to these guys, and this is after I'd given my life to Christ. My bulldog's barking in the back. I'm sorry. This is after I'd given my life to Christ, and I was just radiating this joy and accepting the fact that, okay, God, even if I'm in here for 5 years or longer, I accept the assignment that you've given me, finally. And the joy that I felt in that moment, I cannot begin to explain, because I'm going to be in jail with other murderers and drug addicts and thieves and the worst of the worst, right, is what society says. Mm-hmm. But I'm in that moment just radiating joy because I'm going to finally do what God called me to do. Anybody can make that decision. Anybody can do it. And it's not too late. It's never too late to start living your purpose. And I mean, until you die. But why freaking wait? It's really not that scary. Life is a lot easier to face when you have that peace of knowing that you have, the Spirit with you, Christ with you, God with you, whatever you want to believe. I mean, for me, that's my beliefs. But having that allows me to fearlessly go after anything. I'm scared to death to do the lives I do every day. I'm nervous. I've already said this in this interview. I'm nervous every day it happens. But, oh my God, I could be living a different life. I can pursue all of these things that I'm pursuing behind the scenes fearlessly. Or even with fear, I can do it because I know what the other side is like. I know what it's like to defy God and defy what I was called to do from a very early age. I lived that life. I lived my life for other people, and all it did was leave me broken, hurt, and just confused. I get to live life every day knowing that when I die, I'm going to heaven. I get to live my life every day knowing that no matter how bad I screw up today, I can go to God and make it right. I can make it right. And I also get to live with knowing that my purpose is for other people. So I don't have to seek the selfish desires. And look, it's hard for me, man. I'm not going to lie. I'm competitive as hell. And I see some people that go on social media and they brag and they show everything that they have. And look at me, look at me, look at me. Look at all this stuff I have. Look what I'm doing. Look who I hooked up with. Look who I've got a picture with. Like, okay. And I see people getting TV shows that I'm going, I really believe that I'm better on camera than they are. And it competitively, it bothers me. I'm not going to lie. It pisses me off because I know that I can do a better job. I know I want it more. I know that I'll honor it more. But there's also a lot of peace in living with no expectations and not being attached to outcomes and knowing that I'm exactly where God wants me to be right now. And I would rather have peace than allow that negative crap to creep into my life and torment my soul because it affects how I live. And I would rather just live within myself and at the pace that God has laid out for me. And I know by not being attached to those outcomes and hanging on to every little thing and just going with it and living my life, I know that everything is going to happen exactly the way it's supposed to. There's a lot of peace in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you mentioned a couple of things that, I wanted to latch upon too. You were talking about when you were sitting in jail the last time, right? You were sitting next to this murderer, right? And I think the difference is, and I'm so glad that you talked about this experience, is that the difference is a lot of people that may find themselves in that situation, right? And look, the reality of things is, a lot of people have been in and out. I mean, look, I was in jail because I was speeding and I got drunk. I was lucky enough not to get a DWI, but I got to sit one night in jail. And I sat next to some pretty interesting people, to be honest with you. This was in my early 20s, and it was pure stupidity. But honestly, it was that moment when I sat there for 4 hours that I got to thinking, is this really where I want to be? And is this the life that I want to settle for, doing this stupid kind of shit that's completely uncalled for, right? Because like you said, is God has a purpose for everyone. We are all unique in our own way. And this is why, to be honest with you, when I first saw your show, when I first connected with you, I'm like, this dude is real. Like, there's nothing fake about this dude. He's as raw as it gets. And you're the kind of people I need in my network. You're the kind of person that I want to be surrounded with because, there's a lot of fake people, like you said out there. There's a lot of people that, beat their chest in social media and say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. When in reality, they're sad. They're empty inside, and they find securities or find money maybe or reputation as means of fulfilling their insecurities. So back to that jail to finish that thought is just that, honestly, like you were saying, is the difference is that are you willing to settle and give in into that? Are you willing to do it? And the talkers. The talkers are all talk, no play, and the doers are, you know what? Maybe I went down the wrong path. Maybe I surrounded myself with some bad people. Maybe I made some bad actions. But the reality of things is we're all sinners. Since the day you're born, you're a sinner. And we're all human. And as humans, we make mistakes. And, that's okay. And I think a lot of people just fail to accept that. I think a lot of people in this mediocre world that we live in, they classify us. They judge us. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, man. I just remember as far back as I was a kid being judged by the way you look, the way you walk, the way you dress, the way you talk, brands, the type of clothes you wear, the type of house you live in, the type of car you drive, how much money you make. I mean, look, you're judged every day, but the reality of things is that you shouldn't allow other people's judgment dictate the course of your future. And you even mentioned that a little bit ago as talking about how you almost became insane because you were living other people's lives. You were living the way other people wanted you to live. And to be quite honest with you, this is a struggle that I still personally have, because when it comes to family, especially, I'm lucky that my immediate family doesn't judge me, but I have some family that, misconstrue me. And honestly, that hurts me, man. Emotionally, it hurts me because it gives me signs of disbelief, honestly. And this is coming from family, honestly. And the only thing that I think as humans that we always want is acknowledgement, right? Is to be understood, also to be appreciated. And maybe that means just, putting your hand on someone's shoulder and saying, I understand. I may not understand what you're completely doing, but I support you. I mean, it's those little things in life that I think as humans we forget, honestly. And this is even something, we haven't even talked about business. I don't even care to, because at this point, this interview has been genuine, has been authentic. You've shared everything that I had hoped for, everything that, the way to impact other people's lives. So, which brings me to our next question. I mean,
hold on. I got to pee before your next question. I'll be right back. I've been sitting too long.
All right, guys. So while we are awaiting Josh's return, just a couple of things that I wanted to share for those of you watching the replay. The show airs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is a lifestyle show that focuses on life, family, and business. This is an exceptional show. Simply because Josh had a prior engagement, and I really wanted him to be a part of the show. So this is a special broadcast that you are tuning in today. And there is Josh. He is back. Welcome back. I actually took the opportunity while you were in the bathroom to actually do the minor spiel of, the boilerplate stuff about the show and all that crap. Because, look, the question I wanted to ask you is, so what are you doing specifically now, aside from the Facebook Live show, which we know that can create a lot of impressions, a lot of viewers, a lot of awareness, a lot of interest? What physical things is Josh doing to impact the lives of others? Tangible things.
Well, so I'm very passionate about amplifying other people's, their desires and what they want. So whether that's professionally, spiritually, or personally, I love working behind the scenes to elevate other people. I work with a lot of brands and, helping products get on TV and movies, helping with distribution. If people have dreams and aspirations, having their products seen on TV, or they're just a brand themselves and they need to get sponsors and get endorsements. That's what my agency does. I don't really talk about it on the, publicly a lot. And as far as, I don't want to talk about, I think volunteering and giving back and serving others is very, very important, but I also think it's not anything to brag about. I think that it's something that we're called to do. I battled with this on Saturday. Karen and I went and fed the homeless. And I mean, it's so funny about doing that because we needed somebody else to help. We needed one other person. And I had to put it out there on Facebook that this is what we were doing. I don't really feel right about drawing attention to that kind of stuff because I feel like we all should do it. It's nothing to brag about. It's something you should do.
Yeah.
So, every time you see somebody that needs money or clothes, you don't need to brag about it. You just do it. So I'm not real comfortable talking about the amount of times that, we volunteer and help people and give to the needy. And I just think it's something that you do. I don't really even want to talk about doing it. I just think it's important and it's something that I feel led to do and feel like, honestly, I want more opportunities to serve. But it's not something I'm comfortable really even talking about because I don't want it to ever be looked at as I'm bragging because I really feel, look, if it inspires other people to give, fine, but it's a very fine line of look at me, I volunteer, and I don't want to do that. I just feel like it's something we should do.
I'm glad that you talked about this, is because one of the things that, especially going into 2018, that I'm really, really trying to focus on is being a better humanitarian. So what you were talking about is this, that I think in our society is this, that as human beings is we tend to be fascinated by some of the smallest, most materialistic things that there are out there, like clothes and money and houses and cars and fame and fortune and all this other bullshit that honestly, look, I think everyone has dreams, but those aren't priorities. I mean, it's always better to give than take. And I think that God put us on this planet to be able to sustain and support each other.
Yeah.
Also, he died on the cross for that, so humanity could have a chance to live. And I think a lot of people forget that, honestly, because they get so wrapped up, like we were talking about Facebook Live and money. So when we're talking about feeding the homeless, I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, it should be our duty as human beings to give back to those who are less fortunate, honestly. I'm going to be honest with you. I was raised by just passing the homeless, honestly. I was raised by not giving, not example. I wasn't exemplified that, you know what, there's maybe a reason those people are homeless, other than what seems like on the surface, right? I mean, you see the stories on the news, right? Is this that maybe they're reported on a homeless shelter and there's this person, and everybody, misconstrues them and says, well, it looks like he's got clothes on his back, right? So why is he homeless, right? People always question those materialistic things, but it's not about that, right? It's about giving. It's about supporting others, right? And it shouldn't be something to brag about. I mean, I saw there was someone in my Facebook feed that did something over the holidays, that shot a video that he basically gave a book to every homeless person. And that was his way of basically giving back, which, I thought it was great. And it was all shot on video, right, to publicize all that. And I get the awareness and generating support of that. But like you said, I can't believe that we live in a day and age where we have to publicize stuff like this to raise awareness around it, as opposed to being better humanitarians and just giving, honestly. Whether it's, giving to the Salvation Army, or donating to Goodwill, or, dropping off blankets for the homeless or whatnot, right? I mean, that should be a human responsibility. And I feel like we just don't do enough of that, and there should be more and more people that are contributing to this. Look, I'm probably just as guilty, to be honest with you. And that's why someone like you is such a huge inspiration, is because, look, it just takes one person to take action. That's it. It just takes one person to take action, take interest, to be able to do that so other people follow. That is what leadership is about, right? Is to lead by example, is to do the things that others wouldn't do. So that was really interesting. You mentioned that, you did that for the homeless, and, so what other initiatives, are you involved in that you're supporting, not business related, obviously, but to give back, right? To share your message, to spread the wealth of positivity, besides the show and what you're doing with business.
I don't know about initiatives. I mean, I'm very passionate about people that don't have the ability to fight for themselves. I work with complex disabilities for 18 years and really got insight on what it's like to struggle, and need a helping hand. So I just try to always be present enough to be aware of people that need help. And so it's not about aligning with a cause here. And I don't have one set thing. I just try to be aware. I'm very sensitive about abused children, especially children that are molested. I'm very sensitive about the homelessness. And I'm at the HIV population, people that are discriminated against, like any of that stuff, I'm going to get fighting mad about and want to make a change. And so I seek out opportunities. I don't align with one charity, just like I don't align with one group of friends. I kind of do. I'm a loner. I really am a loner. Like Karen and I, we have a lot of friends, but at the same time, we like to do our own thing. We don't really align with one set thing because we have a lot of different interests, and we believe that God's children are, good morning, Aaron. We believe that, you know, people are people, and it's just fun to have different interactions with different, it doesn't matter what your faith is. Like, we have Muslim friends and Buddhist friends and atheist friends. Like, we don't, it's just like, we love people, and when there's an opportunity to help, you help. So I don't have a single cause. Hi, Veronica. I don't have a singular cause. For me, it's sincerely about just being aware. And if I feel that thing inside that says, help, say something, speak out, ask a question, introduce yourself, I listen to that. And that's the beauty of being connected to the Spirit, is that you get to be aware of that. So I don't have to have one thing. It's all things. Anything that's available to me to help and I feel led to help, I'm going to help, period. So to answer I can't really answer your question, because I don't have an initiative. I just believe that when you feel led to help, you help, and you don't ask why, you just do. And sometimes when the Spirit when you feel called to do something, it may not even make sense at the time, but you do it and then you find out why. I'm going to real quick, and you know, since we've already talked about the homeless thing this weekend, it's fascinating to me getting to interact with these gentlemen that were homeless, and you get to see all walks of life. But I got to tell you, it hit me the hardest. I was talking to an older guy, and at the city rescue mission, it's when you get checked in, they put you on lockdown. It's like being in jail, and they get you reacclimated with like society and how things work, and get you healthy. And this guy was so motivated to get out of there that he was advancing, like he was doing extra work so he could advance, so he could go out and go into landscaping and work in a nursery. I'm sorry. And I was so inspired by that. And then I would see other gentlemen that were my age come by. And Karen saw this, like it just affected me, because I remember what that was like. But to see the zero hope in their eyes broke my heart, because I always had that. And I don't know if it was my mother's love or what, because even when I was the most broken, like, I knew that one person believed me. Even before I knew God believed in me, I believed that, I knew that my mother loved me, and I knew that, and I had hope in that. My mom believed in me. So like, dadgummit, I should believe in me too. To see the lack of hope in people's eyes broke me. And and it made me want to do more. But I was also inspired by the older guy that is almost out of chances, you would think, because he's 56 or 60, however old he was. And here he was in a homeless shelter, busting his butt to advance through the program so he could get out in society and work again. I found that to be so beautiful and so inspiring. And so I don't think that we necessarily as humans have to align with any cause. I think that we just need to be aware of what's around us, and we see the opportunity to help. And sometimes helping is just offering encouragement. Sometimes help is looking at somebody in the eyes and calling them Mr. Such and Such, to give them that dignity. It's just being aware. And that's it. I mean, to me, that's really all it is. And you'll find that you're able to do a lot more good for the world when you're not set for a singular cause. Just be aware. Sometimes it's a smile. Someone just open the door for somebody and say, have a blessed day. Sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes it's more.
You're absolutely right. And I think I'm hearing feedback in the background. I don't know if it's on your end or.
And listen, I really have to. I have another meeting that was started 3 minutes ago. I'm so sorry, man, but I am very grateful to have the opportunity to be on your show, man. I definitely like what you're doing, and really, really appreciate you and what you're doing, man. I really thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much, Josh. I mean, it was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for jamming with me, and I look forward to us staying in touch, especially in the social media space. Truly love your mission, your purpose, and what you're doing. And until next time, I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you so much.
God bless.
Thank you again for being on the show. God bless. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, everyone. That was the guest interview with Joshua Berglan, and I'm so fortunate to have Josh. We had some technical difficulties in the beginning. I'm trying out a new software today, and ran into a couple of issues with Facebook. That shouldn't be the issue next time. I strongly encourage you to follow Josh online. He is a positive thinker, someone who is impacting the world one action at a time. And ever since I have met Josh, I have been so fortunate to meet a lot of other great people, because positivity is contagious. And therefore, I hope that that momentum continues. For those of you that might just be tuning in, this is the Jigs and Puzzles show. It airs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, usually at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on my Facebook business page. The replay is typically available on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Ivan Temelkov. I invite you to come on there as well. Thank you, everyone who tuned in, even towards the end of the show. I really appreciate it. I have very great guests lined up for the Wednesday show, so make sure you tune in right here on Wednesday on my Facebook business page. Again, 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a phenomenal day, a blessed day. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.